The Deelucks Franco 45 podcast is for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised. Welcome to the Deelucks Franco 45. I'm your host, Lucky Kalangis, talking NFL picks, 5 against the spread, Westgate Super Contest style. And along the line with me is your co-host, the Brentwood Greaser, Mr. Minimum Bet Blackjack, Mark Franco. Franco, what's happening?
Hey, Lucky, how are you, bud? It's a great time to be a Boston sports fan, buddy. Red Sox
It is a great
win,
time.
Patriots win, Celtics win. Fantastic. How you doing?
That's right. I'm doing great. Yeah, it's if you're a Boston fan, you're enjoying life right now. Patriots are finally have a winning record. They're 4-2, looking good going into Week 6, and the Red Sox are up 3-1 against the juggernaut Houston Astros. A chance to close it out.
Fantastic game last night.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that the way the fan interference rule works in baseball. I don't know. I guess you'd put it sort of like the pass interference rule in football, where they give you credit for the catch, right? So yeah you have this 60-yard bomb, which would have been a very difficult catch, but because you're interfered with, we're just going to say you would have caught it. And in this case, with the Red Sox in the first inning against the Astros, like Altuve hits, what would have been a 2-run homer, and I guess somehow you can argue that the fan interfered there. Well, that was the argument that Joe West made, and they give him the catch. It would have been a spectacular catch. I don't know. I thought the fair thing to do might be just make it a ground rule double, but in this case, it worked out for the Red Sox. You're out. Instead of 2 runs, you get 0. Runner goes back to first.
The Red Sox really got a break there, and it's funny because the game reminded me of back in the day when 2003. I focus more on the end of the game where I'm flipping out and Kimbrel's blowing everything, and the whole world is probably yelling, get him out of the game, get him out of the game.
Right.
And that was you back in the day. You're yelling about Pedro Martinez.
Yeah, that was a classic Red Sox moment.
Lucky, if you don't know, to our 4 listeners, Lucky is the voice on the WEEI in 2003, yelling at Sonny McLean.
Dude, why is he still in the game?
Yeah,
that was it.
So that was me last night. I'm sitting there and I'm like, Cora almost lost his job last night. I mean, Kimbrel is a mess. I don't know what's wrong with him. Shave his beard, shave his ass, shave something, but he is a mess. His brain is toast, and he cannot throw strikes. So it was a miracle we won that game last night. I thought for sure we were going to lose in the ninth. Benintendi was fantastic. The game was great, and that catch everyone's going to talk about, and it was fantastic. Red Sox fans are the only ones in the world that are going to say, "Oh, it was the right call," And
of course,
obviously, being objective about it. If I'm a Houston fan, that's a throw the TV out into the streets situation.
Yeah, in the first inning too. Your TV's gone. Then you got to listen to the game on the radio.
Gone. You trash the house. You drink about 4,000 gallons of vodka, and you just like, that's it. I've had it. So, we get the breaks, and in 2003 it didn't go so well.
And I had that brief cameo in that too. Not many people realize there was a documentary made about the Red Sox and their fans and their being so faithful in the face of such devastating losses. And I did have a fairly I would say infamous cameo in that when we were all at the bar at Sonny McLean's in Santa Monica, and they wouldn't Grady Little wouldn't take Pedro out of the game, and they subsequently lost. The interesting thing is that might have been a more well-known documentary had the Red Sox not immediately the year after won the World Series there before, making it completely irrelevant. And there goes my cameo off to the dustbin of history, as they would say.
Most people nowadays in sports, they hate us. They hate Boston fans.
Well, it's completely the script is completely flipped, right?
Right. There was an era from 2003 in that year where we were the fans that people sympathized with. We were the fans that people were like,
punching bags.
Those Red Sox fans. Oh, and there was an era where we were, 2003 was the turning point. And that was the year Boone hit that home run. And we all, I went crying. Grown men crying everywhere at Sonny McLean's. Crying, bawling. When we all went over to the shack, and because Sonny McLean's didn't do shots, and we had to drink as much as we could, as fast as we could. And there was fights and crying.
It was masochistic in the sense that the Red Sox, it wasn't like they wouldn't have success. They would have a certain level of success without winning a championship, and in pursuing the championship, they would crash and burn in the most spectacular ways possible.
Right.
And certainly 2003 was kind of the epitome of that. And of course, you had the epic collapse in 78 when they had the 14-game lead over the Yankees and lost the playoff game at home, and the list goes on. But obviously we can't forget Bill Buckner in the '86 World Series, right?
Can't start that conversation without Buckner, but people forget that we're not these spoiled, rotten Boston fans. That if you're over the age of 40 or 35, even, you've had some tough times. If you're a millennial and you're a Boston fan, well, you've had it good for a while. So,
the script is completely flipped, and now the Red Sox are charmed instead of the reverse. But I give all the credit for the Patriots for doing that, because they were the first team to actually kick the door down. They kicked the door down in 2001 and said, "Hey, we don't have to suck in crucial situations." With Tom Brady going and the Patriots going for it in Super Bowl. The 2001 Super Bowl, which actually took place in 2002, but anyway, that memorable drive to get the field goal, Adam Vinatieri to bust them through, and I think to me that's what changed the entire. That's what flipped the script, and from then on there, Patriots win four more Super Bowls, and the Red Sox win 3 World Series between 2001 and where we are now, 2018.
Yes, and so. For all those people who are listening that aren't Boston fans, sorry.
Well,
we're better than you.
What winning does is it does give you some perspective, right? So, last year, Super Bowl, we lost. It sucked for a couple hours, and the sun came up the next day, and life went on, and it was fine. But when you're a fan of a team that just gets close and never wins, then you live with that for months on end, and you let it affect you for much longer than it should. So that's the one good thing winning does, is it gives you that perspective. So you don't.
Yes, sir.
You get over losses a lot easier.
Well, I like winning, so let's keep it up.
If you like winning, you do not like listening to this podcast. Well, or at least listening to my picks.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
But
all right, let's get to it, bud.
Let's get into it. We both wrapped up last week 2-3, which for me was an improvement. So I'm going to stick that feather in my cap and move on to this week. And for you, I think you regressed a little bit. But as we go into Week 7 of the NFL, we stand right now with Franco at 15-14-1, and yours truly, Deelucks, 11-19. So keep that in mind. That's. You may want to fade my picks and make some money, because if you had done so over the first 6 weeks, you're doing well. You're 19-11. You're feeling good.
Yeah, I am trying to get over that hump to get toward a winning record. Even though I'm up, with the VIG, I'm down gambling, because if you add in the VIG,
that's right.
If you bet $100 a game, I'm still down a little bit. 15-14-1. I was 2-0 to start that week, and then
it all
everything
fell apart.
went to hell. So, I would say my best win,
let's start with your genius pick.
My genius pick of the week
last week
was, and I went, and you can roll the tape back too. I went big on this one, and it was Buffalo getting 9.5 to Houston, and I said, I'm betting the money line. Bet everything on it. It didn't look great at first, but Buffalo should have won that game.
Nathan Peterman came in to spoil your money line.
If it's not for the fucking Peterman, he is the worst. Is he the worst quarterback?
Yeah,
in the
he's
NFL
the
of all
absolute
time?
he's the absolute worst.
Literally, look it up. I mean, he might be the worst quarterback that's ever snapped the ball in the NFL, Peterman. So I didn't hit that money line, but I unloaded on it. And if you unloaded on Buffalo, you covered. It was an easy cover, except for Peterman almost threw another pick six in the last minute. He threw a pick six to lose the game, 2013, and then they got the ball back with 50 seconds left. And I was
would that have blown the cover?
And he threw another pick at his own 25-yard line, and the Houston guy went down. I was like, oh, he could have ran in. That would have been a throw it out the window.
Yeah, that would have been the Sony Trinitron bad beat, throw your TV out the window game. Yes.
So Buffalo, it was a good win for me. A lot of people didn't like Buffalo, but that line, like I said to you, I got it at 9.5. It went down to 7 before game time. So if you got it,
the
at
sharps
9.5,
were on the Bills.
Yeah, everyone was on the Bills because I saw that line and I was like, that's ridiculous. So that was a good win. How was your best win of the week?
Well, my genius pick of the week. I think it was one of my first picks.
Patriots.
No, it was not. But I did win with that one. It was not. It was the Seahawks laying 3 over the LA Raiders, and my rationale there, which I'm going to sound very proud of this, even though my overall record was 2-3. But I think the Raiders were in disarray, and my rationale was that a trip to London is not going to fix the Raiders, and that absolutely was the case. That was a no-sweat-'em game from the get-go. The Seahawks got on top of the Raiders and never took their foot off their necks. The Raiders, I think, only scored 3 points. Easy cover, Seahawks -3 over the Raiders was my best pick of the week by far. I think I'm thinking maybe our bad beat of the week was probably our consensus pick last week.
Yeah, that was a tough one. The Rams in Denver.
Rams laying 6.5 over Denver, just couldn't get ahead enough to and then couldn't stop Case Keenum from getting a touchdown at the end of the game, which was maddening when I was watching it. I was
backdoor covers are the worst sometimes because the Rams they should have covered that. They had a touchdown chance to get another touchdown late, and they didn't get that one. And then, backdoor covers are the worst.
They missed a long field goal, and Jared Goff just kept taking bad sacks when he shouldn't have. Just get rid of the ball, which one time knocked them back, and they missed the field goal, and another time it killed the drive, and they had to kick a field goal. So the fact that they couldn't score enough touchdowns, they just couldn't get quite far enough ahead of the Broncos to keep that 6.5 point spread safe. And lo and behold, Case Keenum drives the Broncos down at the end.
Yeah.
And that's the problem when you have to lay a big spread like that. The team playing defense knows that, well, all we got to do all we got to do is not give up 2 scores. So they tend to play a little bit soft and give up the touchdown. I was hoping that the Broncos would get to a 4th down and say, okay, well, we got to score twice, so let's kick the field goal here and go for the onside kick. But they were able to get into the end zone, and that knocked us out.
Prevent D, Lucky. Prevent D prevents covers.
That's true.
When you get into that prevent D, those guys aren't thinking 6.5. They're thinking W's. But they should gamble more. If they gamble more,
that's
maybe
right.
Like,
hey, you know what? We got to cover for these guys.
For good old Lucky and good old Franco. They've got some money on the game, and let's do them a solid. Let's get some, play some defense here. After
2 weeks of laying, 6.5 and 7 points with the Rams on the road, I think I might stay away, even though they're going into Santa Clara to play the 49ers. It's a big number. I think I'm going to lay. I think I'm going to lay off that. And in fact, after the 49ers decent performance on Monday night. I was sort of tempted to take them, but I just couldn't pull the trigger on that one. So I'm gonna stay away from it. I'm not gonna touch the Rams this week.
I've locked in my picks as we do always before the show starts, and I have stayed away from the Rams also.
Yes, I've learned my lesson.